Consider these doors. They are all of the same type. They have two groups of parameters, type parameters and instance parameters. The parameters to define their height and width are located inside their type parameters, and their level and sill height parameters are in the instance parameters. Having only this door selected and changing the height parameter will cause all other doors of that type to change, even if they are not selected. That's because making changes to type properties will change all the objects of that specific type. But changing the sill height only impacts that selected door. The reason is that instance properties only impact the selected object or objects. This is actually the main difference between the two parameter groups. In fact, we use type parameters to subdivide a specific family, like this swing single door family, to generate new types out of it. The same scenario applies to all other objects. They all have two groups of parameters. If you're finding this video helpful, check out RevitGamers.com. Our courses go beyond the basics, bringing Revit to life with hundreds of dynamic visuals and animations that make complex concepts feel easy. This unique training approach is designed to speed up your learning and make BEAM adoption smoother than ever. Every day, more students and companies are joining Revit Gamers Club to elevate their Revit skills. Don't miss out. Head to RevitGamers.com and see how Revit training can be fun, visual, and incredibly effective. Instance properties are located in the Properties window. To see the type properties of the same object, click over Edit Type at the top of the Properties window. The pop-up window is called Type Properties and contains all the parameters related to the type of the objects. As mentioned, changes to any of these parameters will affect all the objects of the same type. In other words, objects of the same type are those whose type properties are identical. This function enables us to make changes to many objects across the project without needing to select them all. Also, by creating new types, we can organize and better manage objects in a more structured way. All right, now that's the time to learn how to create new types out of families. Let's get back to our example. Having that door selected, click on Edit Type and then click over Duplicate in the Type Properties window. Give it a good name and then click OK. If you're unhappy with the name, click the Rename button to change it. Now this door belongs to the new type. This means that if I change the height of the door, it will not impact the other doors, because they are not of the same type anymore. Click OK. To put another door inside the new type, have it selected, expand the type selector on top of the Properties window, and select a new type. Now, by going to the Type Properties window and changing the height parameter, the height of both of the doors will change. Now that we have become more familiar with the various components of the Properties window, let's explore how we can determine the category, family, and type of an element using this window. When an element is selected, its category is displayed directly below the type selector. Switching to another element will show a different category. The number displayed in front of the category name indicates the number of selected objects. I highly recommend you to have an eye on this value when making changes to a bunch of objects to make sure that no unintended element is selected and being changed. The family and type to which an object belongs can be identified in different sections of the Properties window. When an object is selected, the type selector presents the object's family on the first line and the object's type on the second line. Expanding the type selector presents a list of all the families within that category with a preview thumbnail next to them. Beneath each family, all created types for that family are listed. We use the type selector to change the family and type of the objects. Finally, going to the type properties, we can see the family name on top and the type name right below it. Changing the family and type of the selected element is also possible by expanding either of these two drop-down menus and selecting an item. It is worth noting that if the selected object belongs to a system family is shown before the family name. But for the component families, nothing is shown before the family's name, and this is the easiest way to distinguish system and component families.